that is not as bad as I was expecting, but still not ideal.
We're live.
Right. Playing Dungeons and Dragons. As usual. Last time we saw Curiosity was the climactic ending of the Siege of Solnar. After a surprise attack made by the Elysian Empire onto the aristocracy of Solnar, a brief world leader meeting that ended in no compromise. A attack was made, a full beach landing, dock landing of Solnar was made by the Elysian Empire. Full force of the Solnar army met it. This a highly divine society fought with their paladins and clerics, led by Alexander Dumas, the head of the Fourth House, wielder of the Pyre Maul, and other such titles. On his Kieran, fighting Solnar himself, the founder of the city, a massive Empyrean with suns for eyes, wielding a sword of pure sunlight. Also fought at the forefront of the battle. He gave Curiosity a mission that a device for a ritual had been crafted back in his estate, and that it should have been fired or been started by now. That many lives were sacrificed into the creation of this machinery, of these ritual divine points. Curiosity raced across the city, found several ninjas stealing the power cores, the power gems of these divine ritual points. Battle ensued. One of the four adversaries falls. They retreat. A new chase is done back through the city, back to the destroyed docks. Clarny, our dwarven cleric, gets a particularly lethal wound to the chest. Manages to shake it off, but has since been carted away to a medic field, a medic hospital, as his wounds have seeped into his blood. Conversion and Craig were the two fastest and gave chase, and were so close to catching the ninja running for safety. Conversion had noticed that a invisible scry had been following the ninjas throughout the city, and when Conversion got close enough to have possibly cast a spell or catch the one of William's lackeys with the bag, William himself teleports with his full regiments of what have I named them?
Bitch asses.
No, they have a name.
Non-guards that are no longer Rimagarian.
Craig knows them as the former Kingsguard. This will tell me what it forges into. I'll get back to that then. I'll circle back to that. There's a gem that I'm trying to think of and I can't find it. But William teleports in, gives a little speech along the lines of I got what I want. Nothing you can do to stop me. You know where I live if you want to try and ever stop me. And he teleports away. Jelly, the goblin, has been healed. Tim Toothy and Jelly have been carted away. Eddie has disappeared. Last Eddie was seen, he was on a rooftop dueling one of the ninjas, a weird bird energy surrounding him. Conversion turned to deal with Jelly, and when he turned back, Eddie was gone. The scene as it stands when we come in is of Conversion flying over a dock covered in the bodies of the slain and the undead alike. Just really no place to set foot down without stepping on a corpse of some kind. Solnar, you know, it's rough being a drow where you are right now. Solnar stands, sword still drawn, radiant wings still like flaring out, looking around, two hands on swords, his sun beacon for eyes, slowly turning towards the other massive figure in the docks. This just as gargantuan red devil of a creature who, for the first time, you kind of get your eyes on fully, not wearing any armor, bare chested, bare legged, got that like classic devil, like leather, metal skull, cloth, like loincloth thing going on. And wielding a massive, like, multi-headed whip that he had just been cracking and just disintegrating with what seems to be mostly fire damage zombies. Just standing there, also kind of starting to turn to square off against Solnar. And there's a bit of tension as the undead flee back into the waters. You see boats beginning to sink away into the like out of the harbor and back into the ocean. That is what Conversion sees. Craig, you are on the ground in front of the tunnel, right in front of where William has vanished. Narvos, you stand around a little bit of skeleton bodies, but the biggest thing you have near you is a still living giant, well, a still not retreating undead giant who is pinned underneath a building and just, I guess, was not built well enough to get himself out of it. That is where we find ourselves. What would any of you like to do?
I think at this point, I think what would have happened would have sunk in and I would have realized that, we failed. So I would just go silent, kind of just clench jaw, and would just walk towards the giant, and because he's stuck, just slowly chip away at him with spells. I wouldn't be doing anything high level or anything, but just kind of almost getting out my anger and everything, just hitting him with like eldritch blasts.
Yeah, you're kind of doing the like Kylo Ren rage.
Yes, just not as flailing or screamy. Just completely silent.
It's a lot of like hand forward movements as you throw out, firebolt, eldritch blast, firebolt, eldritch blast, just like a numbing sound in your head as you whittle away and slowly parts begin to slough off, and the giant stops moving underneath this house. It is as that giant dies that both you and Craig, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. You and Craig, who the same sort of ringing in both of your ears, the ringing of just like your brain trying to process what's going on and what has happened. You both, at this point, Conversion, who how long does your fly last, Conversion?
Oh, meant to actually tell you. I was thinking Storm Sorcerer. I've been playing one, and I played one in another campaign besides Eternal.
Okay.
The Steps of the Night lasts 1 minute, but I can do it up to 4 times.
Okay, so you have essentially 4 minutes of flight.
Yeah, so I figure by this point the flight.
Yeah, we'll have you in this case, as those two gargantuan figures start to look at each other. You sort of land and find. Do you want to land on a rooftop or do you want to land on the ground?
Probably land on a rooftop near them.
Okay, so you there's actually one of the towers. There was like a defensive tower nearby that on the top there are a handful of remaining. Most of these are the ranger class of city guard, most of them without arrows. But you land and they look just sort of like shell shocked, like a bunch of different raced Aasimar. Just shell shocked and kind of like staring down at what is a devil squaring off against their leader currently. But this is like the first 6 seconds. Craig and Narvos, you, as the ringing in your ears sort of fades, begin to hear the screams of the dying and those who in the buildings nearby, and like the realization that time has not actually stopped begins to sink in.
Shit, I'm not gonna be any good at moving boulders.
Do what I can, but I mean, same. We'll help.
I'll go around. Eddie's gone?
Yeah, Eddie had you last time you saw Eddie, he was dueling a ninja up on the roof. So you run back over to where you last saw him, and he's missing. You know that as you do that, you turn around and a couple of clerics have picked up Clarny's earthboard that he has passed out on after like coming up next to you and holding, like patting you on the back as you fell to your knees. You didn't even realize that he himself had fallen unconscious. And a couple of clerics pick up his earthboard, kind of like a medic board, you know.
Yeah.
And start running him, saying like, I see there's an obvious curse involved here. We have to get him back.
I'll use my perception to find people that are harder to find.
Okay. With your passive perception, you also, as Clarny runs away, you see the beginnings of like black veins spiraling from where you see his skin.
Oh God!
Because he is very heavily armored. He is a very heavily armored individual. You use your talents to help find the more hidden, a little bit like a find dog, but you start running around pointing. Flies start picking up little pebbles, flying them out one by one, doing a little bucket brigade with pebbles.
I'm not there at all. I'm not answering anybody's questions or anything. I'm just mindlessly pointing out stuff to people.
Okay. Narvos, what are you up to?
Well, I had one 5th level spell left. I would use that Where is it? Yeah, because it lasts a good amount of time, I would summon a Draconic Spirit.
Okay.
And use that to help clear the debris because it's stronger than I am.
Okay.
And can do that.
A little bit of a translucent dragon appears and begins to use its claws to pick up boulders, move it aside. Individuals run out and head further west towards House Ophelia.
You know what? I could probably become a giant ape.
You have polymorph?
No, well, not a giant ape. What could I turn into at 1/4 level that could move stuff good?
Hold on. I have a polymorph.
There's something,
like
right?
a guide to polymorph.
Let's do a quick research. Go to monsters.
Here. You said CR 1/4?
Yeah.
1/4.
There's Axebeak, Boar, Constrictor Snake, Cow, Deep Wrath, which is a cow that can cast Dancing Lights, Draft Horse, Elk, Giant Badger, Giant Bat, Giant Centipede, Giant Frog, Giant Lizard, Giant Owl, Giant Poisonous Snake, Giant Wolf Spider, Hadrosaurus, and Ox. Oh, and there's actually Panther, Pteranodon, Riding Horse, Stench Cow, and Wolf.
I think the best that you might have even seen, though, is another.
That's the problem. I haven't seen an Axebeak.
You have seen an Axebeak.
I've seen an Axebeak.
You've seen an Axebeak. I would actually say your best one is probably a giant lizard that you would have seen on the islands in the jungle.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. It's large. It's got fingers.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Would you have seen a draft horse? Because that could be good. I mean,
we've definitely seen a draft horse. You have also 110% seen a draft horse if you would like to be more of a puller. But you've definitely seen like a giant lizard during the island adventures in the jungles. You visited like 2 or 3 jungle islands, if I remember correctly.
Well, I can do it twice. I haven't used any wild shapes this whole time.
Yeah. I can do a lot with the dragon because he's up for an hour as long as I keep concentration on him. A lot of building clearing.
Right. You see Conversion as this like brief, like literally a single round, as they both essentially size one another up and like, okay, are you an enemy? As they both turn to one another, the giant devil creature shrinks down to about medium creature size and is kind of lost for a brief moment in the just pile of bodies that surrounded the area he was at, and then you see a flash of red light and he is gone.
All right. Seeing that this is resolved, I will now turn my attention to the overall state of condition of the docks, and basically like looking it over and kind of assessing just how bad it really is, and looking it over, trying to figure out where the most good can be accomplished as far as like helping people out and trying to lessen what's happened.
Right. At this point, you all kind of rapidly become gophers and moving, and Conversion can do whatever healing that they deem necessary at each moment. Solnar does not shrink, but slowly begins picking their way through the just sea of bodies that surrounds this, and you are here, Convergent, in this like central part of the docks, and essentially just disintegrates anything that isn't Solnarian. Anything on the ground that is not decked in the silvers and golds of the city guard and army attire is just turned to dust. You don't find many still living. What you find more often are those still alive and heavily hurt. There is not a lot of dead Solnarians here. I think I said that right.
That almost seems worse.
Do I get a sense that there were a lot of dead, or that they just didn't kill them?
This is a realization you make rather quickly, as it becomes very obvious that there are far more of the Elysian undead than there are Solnar dead. What do you do in that initial moment when you kind of make this click?
He'll kind of like stop, look around, and he's kind of working his mind through it, trying to figure out if the undead were not actually successfully killing the Solnarian defenders, or if it looks like a lot of the Solnari defenders, the bodies are missing.
A brief investigation. Not in like the actual. It takes you just time essentially to pick your way through enough bodies and find your way to one of the further back medical hospitals that have been formed towards the back of the trade district. You do find plenty of. You find more bodies as you go further back. You realize that not many had actually died up here in this first dock ward. It is mostly the undead. And as you pick your way back through the trade district, following several medical carriers, you find an increasing number until you reach the medical hospital, where there are a lot of dead stacked. Most of the clerics who were reserved for healing, you hear just prayers in this hospital. Most seem to be just praying and throwing in their divine intervention and just hoping somebody hits the jackpot and that one of their deities will step in and either perform a miracle and heal all of these individuals or give them the spell slots to do so themselves. You do see several individuals who are more paladin types, and are sitting, looking almost shell shocked. And based on the blood covering their armor in places, you recognize that these are probably individuals who were resurrected early in the battle before the cost of this battle really set in for the Solnarians. They have, somebody dies. This is a divine society. We resurrect them and send them back. It became apparent later on that we can't be resurrecting everybody. We need to be spending spell slots on like stopgap measures. Keep them alive. That is what Conversion finds, and I'm sure lends in whatever hand they can. Oh, what does Velran do? You're in charge of Velran. What's he up to? He's seen war. He's seen cities burned. They were Underdark cities, but he's seen this. He's usually he has never been on the receiving end of it. His city has never been defeated by another Drow army, but he has certainly marched against cities before.
I'm going to say he's probably pretty unfazed by the just the sheer scale of the carnage, and he's just kind of like, "Yep, okay," and you carry things from there to there. Okay,
yeah. So he just sort of like tags along behind you, is like, "This is what we're doing. Oh, you got it. I will be a second set of hands."
Yep.
Right. Time moves forward unless anybody has something specific they would like to do. Right. Time moves forward. Eventually, enough powerful individuals make their way in the next, we'll say, 12 hours. I want Craig most of all, I think, unless you want to be absolutely shell-shocked, Craig, then I will actually back off. How in the sort of like state of shock with William are you right now? How involved are you in what is at least going on around you, if not doing things yourself?
I am letting my body and my perception do what it needs to just do what people need me to do, right? But the back of my head is I'm just plotting. I'm trying to figure out what to do. Trying to decide what we need to do and how we need to do it. And I'm having a hard time of it.
Yeah. This is one of those times where there isn't a great forward step. The knee-jerk reaction is to chase him down.
Yeah, but I know I know better than that.
Yeah, that is an instant red flag. But it is the knee-jerk reaction. The follow-up is more accruing of power and allies. Solnar is an obvious ally. You essentially check that off. The question then becomes, do you need more? And how much more power do you need? Yeah. And how long are you willing to wait? Those are the calculations floating around in Craig's head, and the math still up in the air.
Craig thinks that Curiosity needs to get the volcano orb, and it needs to be in their group. He probably just not going to use it, but somebody in their group should. He's gone through this whole idea of the first one was corrupt, yeah, but the next one, it wasn't that bad. It was just ghosts were attached to it, right? Did it drive anything crazy? I don't know.
Anything that died was its soul could not move on, and it became a ghost for like stuck in the loop of that orb.
So he's thinking the volcano orb's just pure elements, you know? And Narvos specifically could probably really use it.
Okay. So Craig has a theory that the orb by the volcano could be of use to Curiosity. Is Craig's sort of like biggest ruminating thought?
Yeah.
Gotcha. What was my point that I was going to bring up? Oh,
you were asking if I see something.
Yes.
I might, but I'm not gonna pay any attention to it probably. So yeah.
It's not hard, but Craig hears of it first. Your ears at least hear it, though you might not act on it. The information does make it to everybody eventually, as all of you are quite talkative and perceptive and influential in the community. That Electra Dumas did lose her life fighting on top of her Atronac.
No.
The rumors abound in several forms that she was fighting multiple giants, that she was pulled down by over 1,000 zombies piled on top of each other to drag her Atronac out of the sky. The most prevalent one is that she died out over the ocean attempting to sink some of the fleet. Rumors also begin to reach Craig first and then Conversion that most of House Carlyle has been found torn to shreds at the docks. Most seem to have died in the initial tidal wave.
Understandable.
Not surprising.
House Ophiel stands at full capacity. Not a single member of House Ophiel died. Convergence is the first one to, since that's not really news, Convergence just kind of like picks up the two Ophiel twins. Obviously, the matron wasn't there. She's an old lady. And also, you know that House Ophiel is in charge of the evacuation and safety of the civilians. But the rogue twins that you've seen around Conversion, you do spot them. And you do see Vimir, that like kind of mousy wizard you met that gave you the seal. He is doing his part. Looks like he's fought in some artillery group, some evocator group. And there is nearby seems to be traveling with him, also in very fine silks, and what you've seen enough of the nobility of Solar, you register as another member of his house that you haven't met. A man with a lute, just trying to like sing a little tune, and it does lift you up a little bit as you hear the tune. It lifts your spirits a little bit. And you would actually, in your hospital, would have been working with the head priestess of House Ophiel that I don't think you've ever met. It is a halfling woman with like very stark blonde hair with a lot of gray running through it, wearing like beautiful yellow and sort of like tannish cream, maybe is the word, robes. Her name is Pollux Ophiel, Polyx Ophiel, and she is the head priestess of the Everlight. House Ophiel is completely accounted for, other than the matriarch, but she's a very old woman. Like, she's a halfling.
Yeah.
And is like in her 400s. Electra Dumas is dead. It is rumored that several other members of House Dumas are dead, but it is unclear. And it is known that 2 members of House Narvos are dead, are found among the dead as well. First is the Priestess of Trade, who was found among the dead at the docks for the tidal wave, is sold. And then one of the bodies that is found is the warrior, the fighter Athena Narvos. House Carlyle is devastated. The dockmaster is killed. The matriarch is killed. The admiral of the fleet, every single captain, and the head priest of the tide are all dead, leaving only the heir who runs the estate back. So all of those that I just stated are at the dock. The heir of House Carlyle is in charge of the estate, and so it was back here. He is the only survivor. His name is Dakath, Dakath Carlyle, Karlel. I can give you the names of all the dead if you want, but I will also just sort of move past unless anybody cares. You've only ever met one of them, which is Safariel Carlyle, who's the dockmaster. You do know that the head priest of the tide was a cleric of the Wild Mother conversion.
Okay.
Just for your fun little knowledge. Among the dead of House Solnar is Hadriel Solnar, who is a ranger and was a part of the city guard, died protecting their brother Turiel, who was a fighter in the city guard, who survived. Missing is Abaddon. No body seems to be found of Abaddon, and his presence is not in the estate. So he is the only member of any noble house that went missing during this attack. Abaddon is spelled Abaddon. He is you've seen him. He was at the Council of the Mines. He's a bit sickly, greasy, long-nosed man, known to have studied at the School of Magic of Solnar, and just he doesn't have much of a reputation. He's the youngest of House Solnar, and there is no body, and he cannot be found. Yeah, time continues to push forward. About 24 hours since the beginning of the attack. I'm sure at this point you have all collapsed from exhaustion, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 hours,
yeah.
but still.
I would say that I would be working so hard that unless one of you two had the news about House Narvos and told me, I would not find out about it
That is almost exclusively Convergent knowledge.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of what I just said is almost exclusively Convergent knowledge, as Convergent is, one, the most cognizant, and two, the most in touch with the houses, because Craig's kind of like out of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So Craig, you get some of it. You can pick and choose whatever you want to know, but you know, the Craig knows a lot of the like information of each house. He knows who people are. But yeah.
Okay. I figure we're probably gonna, a group of us will probably meet up for food. And
yeah, the trade district is essentially an open at by the time you all convert and you're out of spell slots and you're kind of just at your wit's end. Craig, your flies are buzzing towards you, and they're like, "Hey, I know you're not hungry, but we are."
Yeah.
Can we do like rotten flesh ain't great? Can we go get some real food? And Narvos, you are also out of spell slots. Your dragon has disappeared, and you are just sort of like the tired is getting to you. You all reconvene at the trade district, which has become a sort of center of the bravest of the civilians and the most money hungry, admittedly, that need to make some extra coin or just want to make some extra coin. Have returned to the trade district. Some are hawking wares. There are some individuals who have created makeshift taverns, barrels and little stools and anything anybody can sit on tossed around, a makeshift bar, bonfires cooking with people tending to meats and cooking cheeses and baking loaves of bread, and just like a makeshift tavern has formed in the center to feed anybody coming from the war-torn area.
all right, I will go ahead and give the others pretty much a rundown of what I've picked up.
Okay, so I'll between you and Craig, who caught some snippets of it, you gather the dead of the noble houses. And Convergent, you can also relay that they're still counting the total casualties of the army.
Yep.
We must rest.
Yep.
When you guys are going over that, for like the noble houses, most of them, Narvos doesn't seem to react visibly. Same when you mentioned the priestess of trade dying, but then when you mention his sister, that facade kind of cracks. He's gonna slump and kind of wrap himself up in his wings.
Yeah, Craig's just slumped, staring off into nothingness the whole time.
Yeah.
Anytime he says anything, it's barely there.
So that he would relay that Athena was the one who taught him how to use weaponry and wear armor and such. She was kind of the warrior and trained Narvos when they were younger. So that's where he gets his martial side of things. So she was the closest out of any of the family.
Right.
Craig will get some flowers and pass out on the stairs of the military district.
Why do you get the flowers?
He really liked Electra. That was probably his best friend in the city.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You pass out at the gates of the military district. The gates are wide open into the military ward. Many individuals are still streaming in and out. and you just find a little like corner, a little alleyway nearby, and collapse and fall asleep. Where do the other two? There are like temporary cots in this makeshift tavern in the middle of the trade ward that there are individuals sleeping on, but there's several open if you want to just crash there. Your boat is still tipped over somewhere at the front of the dock ward. Unclear of how that stands currently. What would you two like to do? There are other places to go.
Narvos is... No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Convergent's probably just going to stick with Narvos. And he doesn't, I mean, as an elf, he doesn't. He does the weird elf thing.
Yeah, you meditate, but you still need a comfortable place, a place to be while doing that.
And take off the armor kind of thing. Because it doesn't.
That is like an imperative at this point. You are sticking inside your armor based on sweat and blood.
Yep.
Yeah. On that note, Narvos is actually going to go to a place where he would have gone when he was still here. It would be like an older tower in the city that overlooks the Narvos estate.
Okay.
He's going to sit up on top of there and just kind of start to really process what has gone down the past 24 or so hours, and eventually just, curl up, fall asleep. He's using the wings more as kind of a comforting like blanket.
Convergent and Velran follow you up the tower and begin meditating on the floor beneath where you are at. All right, so you can all get a long rest in your various states.
Finally.
4 games later.
Which gives you many of you leveled up during this time, so you now have access to all of your new abilities.
Disintegrate.
In the morning, I'd stop by Arcane Minded.
Arcane Minded, the door is locked.
I would knock.
No response.
Cindy.
No response.
Ignat.
There are like milky windows. Do you want to look in? You look in. There's nothing there. It's just an inky void.
Let's do a place.
That's only 4 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
You only need 4 hours of rest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They still haven't come back.
Well, I'd go back to the tavern. It's probably close, right? Because this is the trade district anyway.
Yep. Yeah, you literally turn around and walk like 30 feet, and you are back in the makeshift tavern. Vibe remains the same. An attempted at lightheartedness that has a lot of sadness around. The individual I mentioned earlier, to Conversion, is here. How's Ophiel, right? Yeah. A boisterous. This seems to be somebody that is part halfling, is kind of small, but is either part elf or human. It's hard to tell. The ancestry is weird. It's kind of still short. Yeah, they're a quarterling. They're a half elven quarterling, maybe. But anyways, they are playing their lute. A individual wearing a bit of leather armor and has a rapier at their side. has a lute that seems to have a bit of blood splatter on it, but continues to play, and is just sort of cheering up the crowd as best they can. And it is good music. Music at any time is decent. Around this time, Convergent, you and Velran come out of your meditation. Craig is still sound asleep. Not Craig, Narvos. Narvos is still sound asleep.
Okay. Probably go right back to it. See like where they need help.
Okay. So you march your way back to the field hospital, which is at this point some of the more elven lineage Azamar of the city, and a few of the elven lineage like sea elf types that were that lived near the docks have returned as well from their rests and are making more goes at healing and what resurrections are able to be done. Though in this city, anything more than revivify takes a very high level cleric that there are not a lot of, just by number in any society. That is what you and Velran begin to do. Eventually, Narvos is awoken. Narvos, you fell asleep. When you fell asleep, Convergent and Velran were in their meditative poses nearby. When you wake up this time, there is a single figure cross-legged over in the corner of the room, hidden in darkness.
Can I help you?
This individual leans out from the corner, leans forward cross-legged. In his hand, you see him doing knife tricks with a dagger with a carnelian pommel. Flipping it around. Red hand. A young tiefling, red face, red horns that go out a bit long and come to tips. His fingers a bit elongated to claws. More devilish features. Leans forward. I heard you made a deal.
Yes.
One side of the deal was kept. I'm just here to remind you of your price to pay. Still flipping a dagger between each of his fingers. One finger over the other.
I'm aware. And it will be upheld.
Keep an eye over your shoulder. And then he disappears. And a puff of smoke and a smell of sulfur. What does Narvos do now?
He's going to take a few minutes to kind of collect and think about what needs to be done, what he promised. And then he's going to find the rest of the group that would already have headed off.
Right.
Yeah, but he's. I mean, still not all there, and he's thinking a lot about what needs to be done. He's gone this entire time since he's been back trying to hide who he was, but he's going to have to change that in the very near future.
Eventually, kind of like the Skyrim couriers run up to each of you. I've got a letter. Your hands only.
Who are you? Who gave it to you?
There is not that dialogue option. I'm sorry. There is
Get
just
back here.
okay.
I chase him.
He's gone. He was right there and then he disappeared. What? You open the letter, and there you are all cordially invited for a victory feast at the estate of House Solnar for this
victory
evening.
Feast.
You gotta raise the hopes of the city somehow. We can't live in sadness forever.
Arcane Minded open yet?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because it's now later in the day.
Hello.
You go knock, you go in. Place looks like nothing. Like when you walk inside, it seems like nothing. If you didn't know better, it was just a normal day in Solnar.
Yeah. I figured there's some kind of like magnificent mansion happening here.
Very much. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. It's I'm leaving now with like a big lever.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Cindy?
Yes, Master Bread. What can I do for you?
Hello. Is everyone here okay?
Oh yes. When the fighting made its way to the trade district, we chose to execute our evacuation protocols.
Understood. That's good to hear.
Master Iknath is not a master at battle magic, as it were. Urag fought with me briefly to join the battle, join the fray, but Master Iknath soothed his emotions, and we sought ourselves safety.
Yes, this was the wise choice. Anyway, I hate to just go straight to business, but you should have a cloak for me. Urag.
Yes. That is indeed what Master Urag was working on. Let me go and get it.
Thank you.
She leaves, returns to her desk, and behind her, Urag comes out. With your passive insight, D&D's about rolling dice, Craig.
Right. I'll roll. I can roll.
With your passives, go ahead and give me a roll of insight.
That's just rogues for you, man. I rolled really good. I got a 16 plus 12, 28.
28. You can tell that Urag is horribly upset. He is an orc. He is an orc that when you first met him, you knew was a recent hire of Iknath. This is somebody who, until the past year or so, probably was a warrior of some kind. And to run away from a fight that, when he looks outside of this shop, was as devastating as it was. Not only is his pride hurt, but he's kind of pissed at everybody who works here, who kept him here.
Urag.
He comes out with your cloak in hand and wrapped in a tight bundle with a leather string.
You are essential to this whole city. getting yourself killed wouldn't have done anybody any favors.
Yeah, that's what they tell me, but I could have helped.
You do help.
I could have been there.
You help every day.
Oh, thank you, Craig. That means a lot. But
not for your enchantments, more lives would have been lost. Keep doing what you're doing. It will be all right.
I will get even better at what I do. I will get better. Here,
you must.
It is a fine work. The leatherworker did a great job. The tentacles are a plush and squishy, like I would expect them to be.
Oh, awesome.
So you have a cloak of displacement that at like the edges, the two like the left and right edges have like the tentacles, the like displacer beast tentacles, and they're like soft and squishy, kind of like faux leather on like a stuffed animal.
Oh my god.
That seems like could be used for something else if they're animated.
No, I imagine they're attached to it, right?
Yeah, they're attached to it.
Yeah,
because it's made out of the leather of the displacer beast.
But they're not just like jangling, right?
No, yeah, they are kind of just
jingling.
Okay, never mind.
They're just flopping.
Left and right.
Just flopping.
Okay. I'm picturing it now.
They're just kind of flopping. And like every time you take a step, one of them kind of like snaps a little bit.
Yep. I'm not
you
wearing
run
it.
fast enough, they just slap.
Urag, a little misty-eyed, returns back to the arcane forge. Cindy is nose deep in a book, and Iknath is nowhere to be found.
If that happens again, Cindy, if there's a way, get everything in here out of the city.
Master Iknath would certainly not let any of this land in William's hands, that's for sure.
That's what I was worried about, more the two things we've brought him.
The orbs, this entire building is abjured from divinity magic, from scrying or seeing. It actually, none of you have ever attempted to message us while we were not tethered to Solnar.
Oh.
And when we leave, it is impossible to even contact us. Is there anything else I can do for you, Master Bread?
No, thank you.
Wonderful. Returns to her books. And you head out with your new displacer cloak.
Yeah, I go try to find Conversion.
Conversion has been in the same place this whole time. You found him either at the field hospital or at the tavern for food.
I'm with Conversion at this point.
You've all gotten your little invitations at this point. Your couriers have spawned and despawned.
Did you receive the letter that I got?
I received the letter that I got.
Craig's instantly concerned that he is being invited just himself as the one undead in the city. Is this actually an execution?
Yeah. I'm glad to hear you got one. I don't know about a winning. What was it referred to?
A victory feast.
Victory feast, but we get to talk nonetheless. Here, Captain, I got this for you.
What is it?
That's a cloak of displacement.
I like displacer cloak, I'm not gonna lie.
It's a displacer cloak.
Yeah.
It will keep you from getting hit, which I think would be a valuable asset to the entire team.
I thought you were getting that for yourself.
No, I do not get hit as much as you. You're up in the fray.
All right.
If it's something you don't want to wear, we can give it to somebody else. But it was intended for you.
Nah, I'll take it. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm like kind of on the fence of like of course I feel bad. It's a terrible thing that's happened here, but you know, Sonar's gonna help us now.
Yeah, well, now that you're all here, I mean, you all remember what I did at the meeting to get the help.
I don't know if Conversion's aware of that.
Yeah, Conversion wasn't there. Conversion has no idea.
I have a feeling like it was implied at some points that maybe we discussed afterwards what happened or brought him up to speed.
Not really. No, there hasn't really been much time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
You said some things happened, so
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Conversion also came to some things happened, and you know, a war was raging around him. So yeah,
it was probably like a so what happened was, and then everybody attacked and it went bad. So it didn't finish getting the story out. Yeah, so I mean, Craig knows, but I'll bring up to speed now. At the meeting that we had, the reason why there was a unexpected aid at the battle a couple days ago. Yesterday. That it's been a while. Sorry, is because I talked with one of the people there and made a deal with them. In order for them to help us out in this fight, I would give over my claim to House Narvos to them. They would take over what House Narvos has.
No. That's not the deal.
Was that? No. Was that? Okay, did I just misunderstand?
You would just guarantee that he has control of the Thieves Guild. That's all he really cared about, so that he can continue trading.
He wants House Narvos to give up all claim to the Thieves Guild.
Right.
But in order for that to happen, you have to take your throne.
Exactly. That. Long story short, that's my point.
Make a very convincing case to your brother.
And this
that'll go over well.
This wasn't his decision alone. I prompted the discussion of helping with Dissipator myself.
It's kind of, one of the enemy and my enemy is my friend scenarios that we were in. It's not ideal, but it happened.
So what did you agree to do?
I would give him control of the Thieves Guild in the city.
Which he already has.
Which is, yeah.
He would just maintain it.
Was there a written contract or was it a verbal agreement?
There was indeed
a written contract.
There was, it was.
There was
and a shaking of the hands and all that good stuff.
And a signing in blood and all that good jams.
Good old demon stuff.
Your copy of the contract?
You didn't actually get one. It was signed on the back of a tortured soul, essentially.
There's only one copy of the contract.
Yeah. There is a single infernal contract.
It is not copyable. They are not able. Their photocopier was broken. Is what I was told.
It didn't seem that bad because he already has control of it. He just doesn't want it to ever go away. And trust me, I've been watching this Thieves Guild with the detectives around here for months, and it's not that bad of a Thieves
They're generally tame. Yeah, they rob and steal, but for the most part, don't murder. Craig, I will say with your investigations, the thing you find more often is the Thieves Guild has become less of like, cutthroats and more almost like classic
businessmen, mafia.
Yeah, almost mafia types where like they're starting to create like alleyway dice games.
Peaky Blinders.
Creating like gamble ring,
offering businesses protection from themselves.
Yeah, that a little bit, but like you see more an attempt to with your insight, attempt to bring the masses a little bit away from their righteous piousness and like, gambling's good. Brothels, those are good. The things that could make a devil some money.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
They're trying to turn Solnar into Vegas.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Essentially, Dissipator's stance is we could all do with a little more fun and chaos in our lives, can't we? In a way that is still bent by rules, though. Like, we could all do with a little wild in our lives. As long as we all play by the same rules, that's all that matters, right? Yeah. He hasn't asked you for anything that he doesn't essentially already have.
Yeah.
But he no longer wants any claim that House Narvos could make in some future disagreement. He wants to be able to look at House Narvos and be like, you have no ownership, you have no claim, you waived.
Mm-hmm. I mean, technically speaking, he would have probably profited more immediately if he had actually talked to my brother directly instead of me, because I'd be whatever. But
yeah, but anyway, he has no leverage over that guy.
Yeah, that's fair. But anyway, yeah, that's catching you up to speed on the situation. So I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't really want to get into the whole, hey guys, I'm back and I'm taking over everything and throwing off the family dynamic now that my sister's dead and I'm just back now. Yeah, 2 of them are dead and now I'm just back and taking everything over. I don't think that would go over too well. I don't want to deal with that.
Hey, I was there. I was there during that fight. Fun facts.
Fun fact. Yeah.
You could talk to your brother.
Exactly. I just want maybe arrange a meeting.
I would like an intelligence check from everybody.
That's a thing I do.
19.
11.
Hang on. Just generic intelligence?
Yeah, just an intelligence check.
Only an 8.
Okay. So, Converging, you're listening to Narvos. Narvos is rambling on. Craig, you're the one that the puzzle piece clicks. You look down at the letter like crumpled up in your hand, and you uncrumple it. Cordially invited to a victory feast at House Solmar. Oh, this is going to be a nobles gathering. House Narvos will be there.
Yeah.
So as Narvos is having this conversation, this like last little chunk, that like little, he's like, I don't really want to like really show my face and be like,
whether you want to do
and
it
like
or not.
Craig, you're like, I don't think you're gonna have a choice.
Can have a choice.
We go to this dinner tonight, they're all gonna know who you are. That's
fair.
We might as well go there now and prepare them for it.
Or you don't go, or Narvos doesn't go. Those
just don't show and deal with the consequences.
Or Narvos doesn't go. Like, that is also a total option.
It seems like it might have more downsides.
Well, what's your plan then? Because you have to fulfill this contract.
Yeah, Craig read over your shoulder while you were a bit more sweating on the big ticket item. I do think Craig read, like, I think you actually said you like wanted to read the fine print.
Yeah.
Like literally word for word, like I want to read that fine print. And it's that I get your soul. I hand it over early because you did not fulfill your end of the bargain. There is no time limit. It seems to be at his discretion that if you just have not fulfilled in a timely manner your end of the bargain, your soul is forfeit.
The problem with the contract is he could come to you right now and say that you failed to do it in time.
There is the timely manner, Craig, is a bit of a lawyer speak.
Right.
Putting him to be fair to a degree. If it is the Hells are a lawful society, and you guys are essentially demigods at this point. Nobody's a good sort of mediary to turn to and be like, we were wrong, Solnar's another one. You have connections to be like, hey, we think that there was a breach in contract. And like essentially a tribunal will be held, much like the meeting previously. You guys are at a level where you have big players' attention, like personally. It's a mixture of your level and the magic items you are carrying. Like, you guys outclass everybody but the heads of houses in this city. That's where you stand on a power scale. Like, Alexander Dumas and Solnar are the only two individuals that I can think of in this city that are like higher on a power curve than Curiosity.
What about the heads of the academy?
Yeah, they have kind of like a mage thing going on, but I think all of Curiosity put together can wipe the floor with the heads of the it's one of the Solnars. Alariel Solnar is the head of the Magic Academy, and then the head of the Martial Academy is Aster Dumas, who neither of them can stand up to Curiosity, to be honest. The mage probably might take one of you with them with a high level spell, but if they picked power word kill that day, you know,
we have gotten to a point where you can't hide.
You were not wrong.
So let's just surprise him.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
You head to the upper ward where all the 5 great estates of the 5 great houses live. Not the largest, but the most lavish of estates is House Narvos. Its gates, leafed in gold, a statue of the Allhammer, in the front courtyard. A dwarven looking individual with a wings matching Narvos's, with an anvil and hammer in hand. The gates remain shut. Through the bars, you can see a long stretch of cobbles and one of those big sort of circular almost driveways for carriages and people to unload during galas or events, leading to what is essentially like a southern plantation home, like big columns, white painting, a really nice wood, a house that goes about 3 stories and goes back. Standing out front are 2 city guards that on one side have the symbol for House Narvos on their lapels.
Should we take a break?
Sure.
Take a break.
House Narva's got a little lake, right?
Oh, 100%. Like,
Sure.
little fancy lake.
Little fancy
pond.
pond.
Yes.
Exactly. All right,
Little
we'll be right
pond.
back.
All right. 2 guards with the hammer symbols of the All Hammer and House Narvos. It's a like a long handle of the weapon and then a double-sided hammer symbol on the top. And they, as you approach, they, kind of step forward and draw their spears at the ready. What do you need of House Narvos?
That's you, Narvos. You got the charisma, bro.
Yeah. All right, above table. We were invited, right? We got letters inviting us, correct?
Not here.
Not here, but
this is us going to your family.
Okay. I wish to speak to the heir of House Narvos.
And who is it that wishes to speak with Narvos?
The former heir of House Narvos.
There is a brief moment as these 2 individuals size you up. And one of them, the one further back, there does seem to be a spark of recognition as he grabs the shoulder of his compatriot, who turns. They look at each other, whisper for a brief moment, which Craig, I guess, can read the one of their lips, which is, do you think that is him? We should invite them in. You watch, I will go in. And he turns around and heads, opens the gate, heads in through the gate, and leaves it slightly ajar. This guy turns back to you, nods, and says, please be patient. It has, as I'm sure you are well aware, been a trying 24 hours for the Great House.
Indeed.
Very confused. This guy is younger than you, than all of you. Probably a fresh recruit to the House Guard.
He's like your little cousin. You barely remember him being like at your knee.
Yeah.
The House Guard, to be clear, is actually fielded from the City Guard. It's kind of like like the MPs in Attack on Titan. It's did you do well in your class? Here's a cushier job.
Gotcha.
Those of the noble houses that join the City Guard almost without fail do become members of their House Guard, but that is an exception, not the rule. But anyways, a little under 10 minutes go by with you guys standing out there. Do you guys do anything in those 10 minutes?
I mean, just kind of look around.
Okay. There's a little koi pond. It's a beautiful place. It's very rich, very showy, trying to show the opulence, be more rich than the other grand estates, which you, Convergent, have now seen 3 of.
Okay.
House Ophiel is almost an open town hall vibe. Solnar's estate reminded you of a mausoleum almost, with a temple, almost like ancient Greek temple with a mausoleum vibe. Very somber, not really trying to show off elegance. This has like fine woodwork, fine stonework, gilded things everywhere, a fountain, grass and hedges.
Russian oligarchs.
Yeah. Finely cut grass, beautiful art hedges. everything. Like they have over to the side. You see one of those like hedge mazes that definitely is done in the symbol of the Allhammer.
I hope Solnar's not mad about his burnt down heads.
You should just like burn down his head. Very much like French aristocracy.
Yeah,
French Revolution.
Narvos is Versailles. House Narvos is the Palace of Versailles.
Narvos, what do you want me to do if he's not in agreement?
Well, I don't think we're going to be doing anything violent. I hope not. I'm just... Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm going to try to talk to him, talk some sense into him. Hopefully he realizes that he already does not have control of what we are trying to get him to officially relinquish.
Yes.
It is at this point that a commotion is heard up the driveway as Craig can see it best, but you can hear it. An angry individual shouting obscenities, clanking as he tries to pull on his suit of armor. I'll fucking kill whoever is trying to cheat into our house, who dares slander the name of Narvos. You hear your brother Imbert, Narvos, not thinking it's you, but thinking it is somebody trying to use your name to, in this time of crisis, to better their own situation. The thought that you have actually returned in this of all moments is a non-starter in his head as he moves forward. So he is like almost fully pulled on his breastplate that he wears, a familial breastplate, and is like having his long sword almost already pulled out of its sheath as he storms up the gate.
I don't pull a bow.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear him. It's not like he's like mad at Narvos for being here. He's obviously yelling at the guard, who's like, "No, I really think there is no fucking way that is him. It has to be some illusion magic. We're gonna have to do illusion training again. God damn it!"
You didn't pay attention during the training. That was 4 hours.
I spent 10 platinum on that illusionist to help you see through it. He storms up and like gets his shit pulled together, and he kind of sees the group of you. As he gets closer, the ranting stops and the pace slows down as he actually gets you in view and has his own moment to sort of size you up and come to the realization that no, in fact, his brother has returned.
Is there a look of like recognition
There's
the group?
There is a look of recognition and then calculations. A look of shock, but not one of sadness or happiness. An instant cold calculation begins to happen.
Okay.
Hello, Lambert.
Brother, to show your face on this of all days, the darkness does persist, doesn't it? Just a cold, icy tone from this guy.
Indeed, it's most unfortunate. I've been in the city for some time now, but was not able to.
Oh, have you?
I have.
He looks around, looks at the many individuals walking up and down the street. Come in quickly. For anybody of note. takes care, turns on his heel, and begins his warrior's march back into the house. Yeah, Craig, you're well aware that you've seen several of the thieves kicking around. Several people that you know from your investigations are known spies of several of the other great houses. Take note of what's happening. And you know he also knows, just from his tone and your passive insight.
Right, yeah.
No, this is a well-known thing that's happening now, and he's just absolutely saying it to just be a dick and save face in this moment.
Now, is he just from before I got out of here? Was he more of a magic type? Was he a martial type? Like
he is actually one of the few eldritch knights of Solnar. So he is a little bit of both.
Best of both worlds.
Most of the spellcasting knights become paladins, but your brother actually had an aptitude for the arcane and also was trained by your sister.
We can imagine he's pretty intelligent then.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is a man. It's probably one of the reasons you were okay with leaving. You probably felt Imbert was a better candidate to be heir of the trade house. He's got a mind for money, a mind for numbers.
He's smart enough to handle that. And
he is also very cold and strategic. When you would fight him in your war games or your tug of war recess games, like tug of war is a great example. He would win by putting on the correct amount of leverage.
He's very much a Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah. He can stand up in a fight for sure, but the thing his enemies fear most is that his plans are almost always foolproof.
Mm-hmm. Why defeat your enemy when they can do it for you?
Much, and this could have been explained to Craig before. He's got a ring of a old ambassador in the Rumagarian kingdom that ascended to the emperor. That same cold logic sits on this person.
But I don't feel negative from him, right? Like he's a decent guy, right?
No, he's not. He's a Scrooge type. He cares about money and station. He is very much a rich member of the noble houses who has held a big position of power for a long time.
He's okay with keeping the status quo. I was not.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You will also know that your father has, for many years, been a more hands-off individual. Imbert has run the family business for several years at this point. Right, you guys are brought into the estate, ushered in. You walk in through the big double doors, and it is a long hallway lined with paintings and busts and vases of plants that stretches down for as far as you can see, well over 100 feet. Imbert quickly turns into a room to your left. That is a little bit of a sitting atrium that has a fireplace and several soft, cushy chairs and those tall, table things that tea and sandwiches are placed on. And he waves for you all to take seat as he sits and waves his hand, and a mage hand begins to pass out tea and cucumber sandwiches. As even in a time of war, the civilities must be met.
None for me, sorry.
Of course. After my day yesterday, I have a bit more understanding of what death looks like on a person. If you don't mind explaining yourself to me to make me feel a bit safer having you in my estate.
I'm quite the opposite of what you saw yesterday. I once was that, and my soul has been returned to my body. I'm probably the one person that wants to kill William more than anybody.
Intriguing.
I can vouch for him. He has saved my life on multiple occasions.
I'm sorry to tell you, brother, but your word means little to me currently.
Just fair.
But to return one's soul to the body of an undead creature, that is an idea worth merit, that I will run up my own chain. And you can see that same cold calculation, hearing this new piece of information, try and slot it in to find a place for it to make his position better.
If I may posit, it is not a fun life. Given the choice, I would not be here.
Duly noted. So what brings you out of hiding, brother?
Well, since I've been back, I've noticed that some aspects of the city that were previously in our control, under our wing, are no longer such. More specifically, the Thieves Guild.
And you see this sour look come across his face, like you wafted a bad smell over in his direction. Father, too, refuses to let me live down that mistake.
No, I mean, no offense by that. That is just something that I noticed. Are you aware of the goings on down at the dock during the battle of what happened or who fought alongside, not willingly, but alongside Sonar?
Rumors of a great devil creature appearing at the docks for the tail end of the battle. When the fight was most dire for Solnar himself, a mysterious creature aided him and disappeared shortly after the undead forces retreated.
Indeed.
That's all I know.
So that was prior to the onset of the invasion. There was a council held in Stormtown. Sheltertown. There you go. Sheltertown. The heads of both parties and the other interests on both continents met in an attempt to maintain the status quo and avert the crisis. As you can tell, that failed. However, I was approached there and offered aid. That aid took the form of that devil. The terms of that deal, I will tell them to you now.
Like his eyes have just slowly, as
Yes.
each sort of like phrase has gone by, squinted more and more and more until they're just like these slits of eyes staring at you.
It was not a choice I made lightly or, in all honesty, willingly, but I have seen and those here have seen, especially Craig, have seen what William has been capable of, and we knew that we would need assistance in that fight to come. Upon accepting that assistance, the terms of the deal was that in return, the control of the Thieves Guild, which, as you are, which is no longer under your control, be officially handed over to the controlling party, who currently is in charge.
It is at this point that he stands up with a clatter of the tray, and the teapot shatters across the ground, and he goes, "You would have me lose any chance of restoring my honor in this case, brother?"
Not at all. And
Craig, you in conversion, it has gone from a cordial, like, okay, what's this about, to like extreme anger from this guy.
If Solnar had fallen, you would be a zombie right now.
We would all be dead and reanimated and in hell, in the worst possible sense. So here's my proposition. So yes, this would have to be done. However, I don't think Solnar would be too happy with the idea of the Thieves Guild in his city being controlled by Dissipator. So maybe once this is officially done, say somehow Solnar receives word that that's what it is. And I don't know, but yeah, that was the terms of the deal.
Conversion.
Yeah.
Conversion.
Yep.
Make me whatever intelligence check is highest, whether it be religion or history.
Religion.
As these are two individuals, both on the religion divine sphere, that you have met and would have some sort of formal studies on.
It's 19.
A 19. You're aware that if the rumors of Solnar is true, and from your own experiences dealing with him, he is an Empyrean, one of the highest forms of Celestials, and a powerful one at that. One very wise with age and knowledge. Dissipator is a Lord of the Hells, and is a tier above Solnar in terms of power. And an Empyrean is to a pit fiend to Dissipator. Wojtek is a great example of somebody that, if given enough time, magic, and power, and soul power essentially, could go toe to toe with Solnar. An attempted pitting of Solnar against Dissipator, if it comes to a head-on brawl, Conversion, you instantly go, that's how we lose an ally.
That would not end well, yeah.
Yeah. Conversion instantly ticks with the sort of like strategic battle brain that Conversion has from years of living in Drow society. You go, that's how we lose our strongest ally that we have now.
Yeah.
Solnar.
The argument on that could be that was your interference.
Yeah, that's true.
And so the agreement would be breached.
Yeah.
There are other ways to approach that matter. Your father still wishes you looking at Imbert.
Imbert? Yep.
Yeah. Your father wishes you to regain the honor.
He kind of... You go ahead and give me an insight check, Convergent.
7. I'm not really paying that close attention to
All right. Yeah, you all you see is a grimace on his face.
Surely there must be another way to do so.
He gives like this side eye to Narvos and goes, "Truly, Father has not been well the past few months. And we just recently were planning a formal elevation, a formal retirement of the patriarch of the family. But due to recent events, it had been discussed in the past few hours to postpone such events in light of continued continuity." He frowns. He turns to Narvos. "The return of the Star Boy," and a bit of a derogatory statement against your eye marking, might be precisely what boosts morale of not only the household, but of the city. And in terms of my honor and the placement of it at my father's heart, truly nothing can change my mistake in his eyes.
That sounds like father, yes.
I could make amends if I retook the Thieves Guild, but I would always, by his comments, be reminded of the time I lost it. That is a mark upon my honor that I must bear. And like you watch him like struggle to piece together the words and like come to terms with what he knows to be the correct path forward. But if the price of saving the city is to give away what I already don't have, so be it. And he kind of like sits back down in his chair and a bit of a huff with a clank of his armor. And a little bit of a defeated man, but like still, while defeat is in his body language, Craig, I think most of all, can see in his eyes the continued calculations as he pieces in the new information he has learned and how it will affect the house's future. And kind of like dealing with the probabilities of Narvos's return and what if he does, if he doesn't, if he does, if he doesn't, and mapping it out. You see his eyes kind of flicking.
This was a wise decision. It will help Sonar for many years. The more ingratiated Dispater is in the city, the more likely if the demons ever attack, he'll remember his history with them and defend.
Yes, you can always trust a devil to be loyal to his word, but still. Well, is there anything else I can do for you?
That is I do share the pain of the loss of our sister with you. I know that I haven't been here, but it's still, she was important to me as well. And I regret not being able to help her in some way.
She missed you dearly, you know. Talked about you all the time. Do you plan on staying? Is this your time to return to the fold? Or do you wish to keep hiding out there in the shadows?
I'm not sure. I know that my return would be good for both the house and the city, but I also have a mission that I have now become a part of with this group.
You can return and not take position in your house.
Indeed. I think if it's made known that I am even alive, just back and alive, that would do wonders for the city and the house. But I cannot leave.
Ember kind of like cuts through your words with his hand. If rumor makes it out that the true heir of House Narvos lives, you will unseat me with just a rumor.
What if I, along with said rumor, I also, maybe we beat it to the punch we announced I'm back, but also that I have renounced any claims.
Deny the throne.
You would renounce all claim to your house and title. Declare yourself outside of the noble family. A commoner like everybody else who lives within these walls, but not in this ward. Giving you no claim to any aid or any privilege of being born with your blood.
I would look at it as him surpassing your family.
I had such a high opinion of you, dead man.
He does sonar. Oh, really?
Yeah. You watch him like grasp the pommel of his sword, just a bit more tightly than you would like.
20.
And you wisdom saving throw. A 20. To save. What's it save as a high level? Elvish Knight. Give me a second to do the calculations. I need D&D Beyond.
I mean, let's be honest, brother. You were always the better leader at this. You're better at this than I ever was. Never could be.
Ability, spell save DC, proficiency saving throw plus intelligence modifiers. I need what proficiency? Where's the thing for that proficiency bonus? You rolled a 20?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a meets it beats it. That's a meets it beats it.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got a 20 spell save DC. Your mouth as you're talking feels like it begins to be stitched together, or like you have no mouth, like, and then you keep talking. And he kind of rolls his eyes, and you feel like some magical effects tried to take hold of you, and failed. But it wasn't like a terribly aggressive effect. It was more of a social, like, I'm done with you talking now effect.
Yeah.
You made me sad. I quiet you now.
Yeah, like you had great opinions. These are not great opinions, and I would like you to be quiet. Mm-hmm. It really fits his character. You're like, you know what, that checks. That checks with his behavior so far.
I'll just turn around and say, "We'll see you at the feast tonight."
All right, so you guys head out on that conversation, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I left with me complimenting him, saying that he was a better leader of House Narvos than I could ever hope to be.
He essentially, as you leave, is kind of shouting after you that you live in a land of laws and that you can't just say you don't want the title. And like it fades away as you guys walk up the stone driveway.
So I would just say it.
What's funny is you can just say it. Like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Is Sonar gonna fight us? I think us three might take him.
Okay, if you really want to.
I'm not lying.
You get side eye from Convergent. Like
Convergent,
not
who
a
gets
fight
who gets a sunburn every time Solnar looks at him.
Right.
who needs a welding mask just to be able to look in the general direction of this guy. And then Narvos, who's you use this guy as basically George Washington.
George Washington, if George Washington was also Superman. Is very much the vibe Narvos has of Solnar.
Narvos, you
Craig,
have
though, has a healthy distrust and hatred of all forms of government. Our true undead anarchist over here.
I wonder why.
I reach into my bag and pull out a little badge, and I hand it to Narvos to say, you have a proof of not having to be in your house. You are a certified adventurer allowed to venture outside the gate here. So I think binding contract is that you remain adventurer, and that surpasses the other things. There you go.
Roll me a deception check, Craig. You read enough of Solnar's laws. Yeah, that's a lie. But like, we can all accept it and hope that it isn't as you take it. But like, yeah, everybody's aware that like Craig's just like, we'll try and get them on this technicality. Sweats flies.
This is Craig trying to think of any way to get out of you having to take over your house.
Yeah.
Right. As you guys leave, another courier runs up to you three.
Oh god, boy!
You see him spawn in about 30 feet away, run towards you all.
Just blink into existence.
Please, I have come on the order of Solnar himself. Please, would you follow me?
Special delivery.
What's your name?
I have no name. I am a divine projection of Solnar.
Cool.
And like with your passive perception, you actually see that he's a little bit translucent, mostly corporeal and mostly there, but turns at the right angle and you can see through it.
Is it like a normal looking guy?
Yeah, looks like a human with like the golden tattoos, the golden Azamar markings that mark House Solnar and those of Solnar's blood.
But he doesn't look exactly like any of the Solnarians I've seen.
No, he has no like specific look. He just is, one of Solnar's children made manifest by him himself. He begins trotting in the direction of the Solnar estate. When he makes it there, he hits the wrought iron fence, the like big blackened iron that guards the estate. You see guards patrolling, but they see like the image vanish into the gate as it dissipates and the gate opens, and you all walk into the estate. This individual walks up to you, a very like stocky half orc guy, big mutton chops, broken tusk, in city guard apparel with a on his lapel is an image of the Dawn Father's sigil, marking him as a member of Solnar's house guard. Curiosity, I assume.
Indeed.
I nod.
Please follow me. You are expected. And he heads towards the burned hedge and the tomb that lies at the center of the burned hedge. You all follow in tow. Things of note, no more bodies. This place has been cleaned up since you were last here. As you head down the stairs, it looks like this place was scrubbed clean by either prestidigitations or soap and water. You make it down the stairs and down the hallway that you guys had your fight down, that was filled with bodies that are no longer there. Through the open door, the light that Solnar himself emanates is evident in the center chamber. The orc guard escorts you down the spiral staircase, stands to the side and lets you all walk by, and then walks back up the spiral staircase, leaving you guys in that first room that Velran stayed in during the fight and Clarny stayed in, looking down the hallway into a room that has essentially daylight emanating from it.
Convert kind of pause as Nervos and Craig step forward.
Okay, so Conversion takes a beat.
Takes that half step.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be bright.
Yeah. You and Velren look at each other, pull out your sun visors and pull them on. And you walk forward into the center chamber. Center chamber is there are 3 doors in this chamber, just as sort of a reminder of what this looks like. It's like a 40 by 30 some odd foot room. The door you walk through, and a door to the left and right at the center of the walls on the left and right wall from when you walk in. In the center of the room is a obelisk about 10 feet tall, with a place in the top center to place a gem. On the ground, there is a lay network of arcane runes and magical circles, with lines of arcane, or I guess they'd be divine runes, actually. Divine runes leading in a line from these magical concentric circles in the center of the room surrounding the obelisk out to the doors and through the doors on either side of the hall that you did not go through. Solnar stands investigating the obelisk as you guys walk in. His size shrunk down to about 12 feet tall. No longer in his armor. Still has a long sword at his waist, but no longer has that double-handed greatsword that he had been wielding. Eyes still, 2 suns, wings wrapped behind him tightly. He wears almost a Roman toga outfit with some fine pins and pieces to keep the cloth together, but stark white. And he looks up at you all as you walk in. Do any of you say anything as you all shuffle in?
I say yo and throw up a peace sign. I'm making a point to greet him casually.
Yo.
Good day.
Very confused as to that one. Does it as well in a little shake of his head. Yo. Is this all that survives of your motley crew?
No, we all survive. They're just busy or injured.
Many injuries. Even in the great houses, many injured. Alexander Dumas himself fell to an injury. I, too, almost was injured. But thankfully, aid came many sides. Your attempts behind me were not missed. Your messages, young Narvos, were not missed. Sadly, it was too late, and William's plans were well thought out, well strategized. His reputation is well earned, it seems. I wish to tell you of what William has earned. This is information that stays within your group, that is to remain out of the public's eye. I know that you met with your brother and at your house today, young Narvos. This is to not even reach his ears. And those that I have found breaking this trust will think it devil kind. And like his sun eyes kind of radiate this powerful old energy. And you know he is not lying. Like, absolutely not.
Understood.
Understood.
What
Conversion just it more or less meets him in the eye. It's kind of hard for him.
A little squinty.
I think I'm looking in the eye. I'm looking at the bright spot.
Yeah.
Like, not even close to meeting him in the eye, but he will nod.
Yeah. He walks around from the other side of the pillar, crosses his arms, and looks down at you all as he does tower above you. What could be the value of a mortal soul? What could equal the price of a life given? I can tell you that if enough lives are gathered, they can create a powerful gem with the power to fuel many divine or even arcane rituals. In this labyrinth, in this laboratory, we held 6 such gems, made with countless mortal lives. This is what William seems to have sought, gathered, procured, and gotten away with. How he knows about this, my most secret of devices, I do not entirely have the truth of. But in the spirit of trust, I will tell you that I fear my son Abaddon has turned traitor to my great city. His body is not among the dead, and he has not been seen since the council at nobody's establishment.
Why?
These are the facts as they stand. I do not have spies close enough to William myself to tell you what his motivations, his plans for these crystals are. What I can tell you is he's an aging wizard with only so much time left. And my simplest conclusion is he is searching for a way to either extend or permanently eternalize his own life. The power of those crystals is not enough to ascend to godhood, but it is enough to... The most obvious would be to create a phylactery. It's a bit gauche for William, but not out of the realm of possibility.
It's not his style.
But William has knowledge unimaginable. Many rituals, many spells that no wizard has heard tale of in millennia. He could have plenty of other uses for such powerful batteries. This is... It kind of like goes from a crossed-armed, very stern, this whole conversation Two palms up, hands out to you. This is the information as I know it. My city needs to rebuild. My city needs to pull itself together and restore its pride. This attack will not be forgotten, but we are in no position to strike out against our enemies currently.
These crystals are something he can't create himself, I'm guessing. A celestial soul coin type thing.
I'm sure if Abaddon had been privy to the knowledge of the rituals used to create these types of gems, that would have been the initial goal. I fear he may be able to reverse engineer the process in which these gems are made, but they cannot be made using the undead, which is the only thing of plenty the Elysian Empire has. They do not have, unless William ceases adding to his armies with those he deems traitorous to the Empire, he will not have enough souls with which to craft one. And you know, Craig, that is a unlikely yet plausible scenario.
It's a future thing. It's not something that'll happen soon.
Yeah, William is, from what you know, hell-bent on, if you go, it's like a core identity of William's reign. If you turn traitor to the state claims your body and puts it to work for the state. And that's a core pillar of what holds the society up, what holds the lawful evil society up. But yeah, yep. Solnar just sort of stands there and looks at you and goes, Any questions?
Is it possible for Navas to not take his throne?
He would have to formally renounce all ties to his house. He is the heir. He is the eldest son of he's the eldest son of Narvos, because they take that title. I guess he'd probably call him Gawain, because he knows who he was. He's the eldest son of Gawain. That is his right. And if the rumors already will spread by this evening's feast, it will be known, at least among the great houses, that the lost heir of House Narvos has returned. By law, his two choices are to renounce all titles, holdings, lands, privileges of being a member of a great house, or take his place as heir and, from what I hear, it soon patriarch of House Narvos. This is a cold yet caring assessment coming from the ruler of the city. This is a lawful society, and he has told you the paths of the law.
I mean, he confirmed what we said. You can just say it.
Yeah, just be like, no,
yeah.
I don't think I will.
You have to formally sign. You have to go and, like, it's a whole ceremony.
Yeah.
It's not just like a letter signed off on a piece of parchment. It is a whole sort of like You cut your ties formally with your family formally cuts their ties with you. You are put out on the front step, and the whole family turns their back to you as you walk away from the gates.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a whole thing. This is a lawful society with rules.
Just
and
the image of that, him just walking around like the end of the Incredible
Hulk. And when you're all stuck together, you create these weird traditions.
That's how it works. Do.
The two drow are like, this makes sense. This checks out.
That's how a lawful society is going to like do a ceremony of that type of thing.
Yeah. Otherwise, the two other options within the law, like if Narvos, so Solnar also sort of like crumbles his eyes and goes, the other options, though I do, and like the boom of his voice, do not recommend them, is that Narvos remains within the city, knowledge spreads, and one of two things occurs. He is hunted by bounty hunters and forced to take his role as heir, which is not unheard of in our histories, or he is hunted and killed by his own brother.
That seems fairly plausible.
Yes,
yeah.
I wouldn't doubt the latter at all.
Yeah, that would happen.
And it does not have to be his brother alone. Much like Narvos has all of you, Imbert can hire or call to aid any allies he has in order to take this, what is known as a dishonor, there's a word I'm looking for, a blot, a stain on the family honor, and wiping it clean. These are the ways within the law this could all play out.
Well, I'm pretty sure we'd all like to avoid those second two. I at least would like to avoid that last one.
Yeah. And you can tell that that would be like the first part of those two, like where bounty hunters take you and forcibly. That's a short-lived one. We're going to do that while I gather the horses and call in my allies. That's step one, so that I can save face and be like, I tried to do it the easy way. I'm coming for you now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd hate to kill your brother.
Yeah.
So
that was a lie. He doesn't need to roll a deception. Craig would love to kill your brother.
I'll come to your renouncement ceremonies. We can make a whole day of it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it sounds like so much fun, doesn't it? Oh, lovely.
Can I laugh as they watch you walk away?
If that is your intention, perhaps an announcement tonight that the ceremony will take place in the morning.
Oh, 100%. I'll just make a giant poster board, like advertisement board, like overall things that they wear, and just walk around the party with that. That'll be me dressing up. It's just the official signing of this entire thing, announcing it tomorrow.
I will let you figure out your next steps, Master Narvos. The rest of curiosity. Your allies are more than welcome this evening if they feel up to it, but I must go get ready myself.
Oh, real quick, what becomes of the docks?
They will be rebuilt. They will be returned. House Carlyle, though ruined currently, will also be rebuilt. What's his name? I have his name. Solnar would know his name. Decath. Master Patriarch Decath will be anointed patriarch in the coming days. Will take away and begin the process of rebuilding the house. I've heard tale that he is already considering bringing his allies that he has made in his schooling into giving them titles in his house to help fill the ranks.
So, should I approach him tonight about getting our ship fixed, or should I give it a few days?
Like the eyes squint, and he goes, "Give it a few days.
Okay.
Your ship is one of the more well surviving ships on the harbor. It will be one of the first fixed, but it will take some time to rebuild."
Thank you.
If you ever need an audience, try and give some warning. Half a day at the very least, I would hope. But bring it to my head guard. You met him earlier. I don't have a name for him right now. I'll get one later. I don't have my name book around me.
Filler name Bob.
Yeah. But the orcish, I believe half orcish individual that escorted you down here, and he will lead you to wherever I may be at. Good day. And he leaves. Now, I think I am going to call forward momentum there.
Oh, I would like to say something to Conversion real quick.
Yeah, you guys can keep having conversations. You guys are going to be like escorted out of the estate and sent back into the streets, essentially told that the feast is not for several hours, and to return at the appropriate time. And that's where I'm going to end, and you guys can have whatever RP you would like to close us out.
Shopping for proper attire for a
Yes, shopping. We're gonna have a shopping episode next week.
We could probably get him to pay us to hunt down his son.
That is true.
Just throwing it out there.
Craig, you are aware that if the rumors are true, that's a mission to Central City.
Yep.
Conversion kind of gives you a look of like he's already on the list.
Okay.
If we get paid for it, whatever.
It's gonna happen.
But if his concerns are true and valid, then the kid's already on the list.
Indeed.
All right.
Okay. Anything else? All right. That's it. That's the game, everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
Come back next week for shopping.
Next week will be on Friday.
Yeah,
on Friday.
Next week will be on Friday. A little bit of shopping. We'll have more players, so we'll do recovery. The days we just did a little bit with those characters.
Let's see what happened to Eddie.
Yeah, we'll see what happened to Eddie. We'll see what happened to Clarny. We'll maybe touch base with the trauma of Tim Toothy and Jelly. And there will be what, jokingly to Craig, and to many of the normal folk of the city, has been labeled the Victory Feast at the Solnar Estate.